We're three best friends, and we love Lost. And we love talking, but even more so, we love talking about Lost. So join us for some laughs, good conversation, and let's get lost together.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Let's Get Lost. I'm Amanda, and I am joined with my weekly co-host, Theresa.
AKA Sunny Side Up 42.
Nice.
Oh,
I like that one.
I like it.
That.
Finally have one. Thank you,
Beautiful.
Instagram, for picking that name for me.
And of course, we're also joined by Kip
Jack Lover 92 in the house.
in the house, and of course, your resident Kate hater.
Kate Hate 88.
Breaking hearts of those Kate lovers everywhere. Apparently,
There's a lot of them.
she's very, important. But very exciting news, because this week's episode, I don't think I'm going to be the only hater around here. Because we're going to hear about Theresa's favorite character, Michael.
My favorite character is obviously Sun, hence Sunny Side Up 42.
Exactly. So sorry. I'm done.
You're so mean to me.
No. It's good.
No,
it's good.
it is
We
good.
like that
Is
you
it?
love Sun.
Yes.
Sun is great.
Exactly. See how weird that sounds?
But so this week we are talking about episode 14.
What is this, 11? No.
No, I think it's 14.
14? Wow. Special.
So, Theresa, what is special about it? I think it's really important that you read the synopses on this episode.
This is very important.
Absolutely. We are season 1, episode 14, Special, written by David Fury, directed by Greg Yaitanes. Not sure. Anyway, Michael becomes concerned when his son Walt begins to develop a special bond with Locke. Michael orders Locke to stay away from his son, Determined that the island is no place to raise a boy, Michael suggests to Jack and Saeed that they build a raft, but his suggestion is scoffed at.
Is that it? That's it?
Yeah.
Oh. I like how they had to say, like, his son Walt. It's like, we know Walt is his son.
Yeah. Have you seen my son?
Yeah.
Which he says in the
He says
in the
this is the
opening.
one. This is,
You see my son?
Yeah.
that's from this one.
I know, and when we
Yeah.
heard it, we died.
Yeah.
It's so good. Have you seen my son?
You see my son?
I love it.
Have you seen my son?
And also, it was scoffed at. The raft idea.
I mean, scoffed at or just logically shut down. by
But no,
Saeed.
but I mean, we'll talk about that scene because
We will talk about that
really
scene
enjoyed
because
it.
we have to talk about it, and you have to talk about the raft.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, I knew.
And I cannot wait. For Dan's hot take on the raft.
Okay.
That is my dream.
Okay,
And I'm
good.
just so flippin' excited.
Wow, we got some amped up energy here.
I'm amped for this episode because I think I will have someone who matches my energy and hatred for a character.
That is untrue.
And they're, you know what? And I just do I have a lot of thoughts.
Okay, but before because I think Teresa's energy is far greater of her hatred for Michael than yours for Kate.
Thank you. Oh my God, Ted Francis will be so proud.
Are we allowed to say his name?
I was going to say, I don't know about that.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Again, let's keep in mind that Michael is a trigger for me personally. That's it.
And we should talk about that at the end of this because I'm
Yes.
curious to see, because I think with your rewatching, you have somehow blocked out a lot of the backstory.
I sure did.
And that's kind of fair.
Yeah.
Because, you can't take everything in.
Yeah.
No, also, I never liked him, I think, even the first time around. And so
But
I
did
just
you
didn't
remember that this was the journey to him being a father to Walt?
Like, vaguely. I remember, like, bits and pieces, but I forgot other parts of it.
Because I think this episode is, and we're obviously going to discuss it in more detail, is very telling. It's a great backstory.
It is.
Episode.
It really is.
It gives you way more than some of the other ones do.
Yeah, totally.
So, but before we do that,
Okay, trivia.
let's do what we normally do.
Trivia. Well, first, some stats. Okay, 19.69 million viewers.
Oh.
Love it.
That's pretty high. And I'm just checking less than hearts and minds. So Boone and Shannon,
Yeah, that's not surprising.
no, a few people dropped off after that one.
Yeah,
Days 26, 27 on the island. That's crazy. They've been here almost a month.
Yeah, that's insane.
Hence why Michael's kind of like, we can't do this anymore. We can't just be building water filtration systems, even though that was his idea.
Also, I feel like... No, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
I'll
8.1 out of 10 on IMDb. Pretty high.
8.1?
Yeah. It was actually...
I wish you guys could see Teresa's
No,
face
I burnt my tongue. I burnt my tongue.
Coincidental.
She was so shocked.
I can't wait till we have video in season 2.
And actually, it is regarded as one of the best season 1 episodes among critics.
Well, that
It's a great
can't be
episode.
right.
Yeah.
Oh.
It is because, I mean, well, I'll read you some trivia first.
Okay.
Okay. What can be seen on screen in what would be considered a blooper while Walt is looking out across the jungle?
I don't think I picked up on this.
Okay, say it again.
What can be seen on screen in what's considered a blooper while Walt is observing or looking across the jungle?
No, you stumped us.
Yeah, I don't even know.
A porta potty and a garbage can.
Oh, I have to rewatch it
hilarious.
immediately.
And bonus points if you can give me the other major blooper in this episode.
Oh my goodness.
There's another blooper.
Yeah.
I'm clearly too invested.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just think these things go right over my head. Did you notice these at
I
all?
didn't notice the garbage can, but I noticed this one.
Okay.
Well, actually, Dan
what
did.
scene was it in?
When Susan, Walt's mom, first starts feeling sick in Australia, and Walt's looking at the birds in the book. There is a woman sitting at their table in the background,
Oh, creepy.
but it's not like,
It's like a cast member, a crew member.
yeah, it's just like a crew member who accidentally was in the shot.
Oh my God, hilarious.
Like, so weird. Alrighty, okay. Question number 2. This is the only other trivia piece I have for you today. Harold Perrineau's wife appears on how many episodes of Lost?
Like the actor's wife?
Yeah, the actor's wife, yeah.
I didn't even know someone married that man.
Wow.
You say it like it's...
Jeez. I don't even know who his wife is.
Is his wife Tamara Taylor or whatever?
No.
Okay. I have no idea.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't
She's
know.
the nanny.
She's in 3 episodes. No, not the nanny. She's not in this episode.
Oh.
You haven't seen her yet.
Okay.
She's coming up in 2 episodes in season 2, or 1, and then 1 in season 2.
Cool.
Outlaws, Sawyer's upcoming episode, and Numbers, Hurley's upcoming episode.
Yeah, I don't
She
know
plays
anything about him.
Sawyer's love interest in that episode, and then she plays the Lotto girl in Numbers.
I always wonder how
his
awkward
wife's
it is
hot.
for oh my god, how awkward it is for like cast members to like have their significant others be like someone
Love
else's.
interest.
Yeah,
That's how they keep an eye on them.
Yeah, that's why they're
She's
still together.
really pretty, you guys. Mm-hmm. Good for you.
Harold.
Good for you, Harold.
it's not all about looks.
I didn't say it was, but I haven't met her, so I can't say much else about her.
Oh, yeah.
I wish there was video so you guys could see how scary Amanda's being.
No.
Okay, so yeah,
So should we do what we have to do is hear Teresa's stream of consciousness.
I'm wondering if we should do. Well, no, never mind.
It was.
I want to hear Teresa's stream of consciousness so bad, but I almost want to like jump right into the episode after it.
Oh, so you want to do
So should we do Dan's first?
Sure.
Yeah, we can.
And then, or would that?
No, let's do
'Cause
it.
I want to just go right into
Yeah.
after Teresa.
I think you guys think that I'm going to be more outraged than I am.
I also, no, just in general, you're quite outrageous. But I also, let us know what works, what doesn't,
Yeah,
what do people like hearing.
exactly.
But we like to mix it up sometimes. So let's bring in Dan for what I am excited for, a very hot take on this week's episode.
Welcome, Dan, for your hot take. Sorry we missed you last week. I know it happens, but we're happy to have you back for this week's episode special. Let's hear some of your thoughts. What'd you think?
Theresa might not want me to say this, but the episode I would say was a very good
backstory as far as the backstories are going. I thought it was a really nice insight into Michael's life. And I actually felt for Michael after seeing the background and his story and coming to the island and essentially being a new father for being forcibly pushed out of the picture. I can feel for Michael in those moments. So he doesn't get it right, obviously, and he does a lot of, poor dad decisions on the island. But suddenly you understand maybe how those come up. So I would say this is actually where the backstories are starting to work for the season or for the series. I'm still not. I thought of this seeing this episode, and I thought this was one of the first backstories I really enjoyed since Sun's backstory. Wow. Because some of the other ones are just, yes, they're interesting, but are they really essential for a story of people being stranded on an island? Or is this a series just of people's regrets in their life and all this other stuff? So, and maybe that's the direction that it's going, but maybe coming into it as a viewer who thought this was about people being stranded on an island, obviously it's getting deeper, but this was the type of backstory that I think straddles the good part between being lost on an island and, needing to tell, why people might be acting a certain way on an island. And I think that's where it's really important to have these good backstories, because hopefully they advance what you think of the character and why they have been acting a certain way on the island in some of these stressful situations. And I say that especially for Michael, because this definitely explained a lot. Yeah. His raft idea, I actually really like that. I thought it was obviously not the most sensible thing, but really no one has really done anything at this point to try and make contact with anyone off the island. And it was actually during the last episode that I thought, why are they not putting rocks out on the beach or branches, or just making a big help sign and spelling out help or SOS or anything? Like the minimal effort that would take to put it out and keep it on the beach to make sure that in case there was a plane going overhead, or just, I don't know, there just seems to be none of these, like, not Gilligan's Island, but just some of these things that you see from movies that you should know might help in that situation. None of that's being done. And so I found that a little frustrating. So when Michael says, hey, I'm going to build a raft, and it's like, that's an awful idea, but actually that's probably more useful than some of this other stuff that people are doing on the island. So all the power to him if it makes him feel like he's doing something to advance, getting out of the predicament that they're in. I would say the backstory sticks with me as actually being a very interesting backstory. And I would actually say it's probably in my top 3, or actually no, probably my top 2 backstories that I've seen so far on the island. It was believable. And it was believable, but it was unique. And I like that. I like that a lot about it. I did have to laugh during the backstory. The person sitting in the background caught my eye, but then is that not the nanny? So overall, I think it was a good episode. I would say it was one of the better episodes, especially after the last few kind of filler episodes, and not to talk those down, because we had the conversation about how sometimes those are needed to round out, especially a network show. But I would say this was one of the good episodes of the season so far. This would probably get an 8.
Whoa! Wow. Is that the first 8?
That is Dan's first 8.
And it goes to Michael. The honor goes to Michael Dawson. Wow.
To each their own.
Well, thank you, Dan, as per usual. And yes, I was excited to hear your thoughts on the raft, and I'm going to let you know that you'll be able to have more in the future, because that storyline isn't going anywhere.
also, I mean, they have tried to send signals out. They have the signal fire going on the beach. So there are some things.
But
No, it's not an SOS. And no, I know if someone sees a fire, they're not going to immediately know they're in danger. But to say they've done nothing is a little disingenuous.
I would say they've done next to nothing because maybe it's the producers of the show that haven't, like, maybe those things got cut out, but as a first-time viewer, I can't remember the last time that they addressed the fire or maybe some of these things that they talked about earlier on.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right, and that leads us to everyone's favorite segment, Theresa's stream of consciousness.
It's not going to be that exciting, you guys. I had to pen and paper it because my computer died. Okay. And we begin with the quintessential, Walt, have you seen my son? Shocker, you lost your kid again. Oh my God, the last of the deodorant. Are they all going to smell after? What do you even do? Does son have a remedy for this? Yeah, he sure does, Hurley. He sure does hate being a father. The monsters are going to get you, Michael, and I'm going to be happy about it because you keep screaming. Oh no. Put the facial hair back on, Michael. You don't look good without it. I really don't want this episode. Of course he's with pseudo-dad Locke. How old do you have to be to throw axes here again? More yelling. I mean, I guess I get it. You're 10-year-old and a knife is not ideal. However, you're in the wild. There are dangerous things out there and you're never with him. So I kind of get Locke here too, honestly. I also doubt that Locke encouraged Walt to hide from you. He's honestly your biggest champion. I don't think he gives two Fs about Michael, honestly. Also, put the knife down. Do you really want to go up against the resident hunter on this island? Oh, and Boone with the tackle. Yes, thank you, Locke. I mean, I think you're a little prophetic, but I mean, I do agree. Oh, he was so cute as a kid. Oh, you're not together. Okay, well, I bet you she met someone. Nope, never mind. She took a job somewhere else. Wait, can Michael come if he's not working? Why doesn't he just go with? Maybe this should be more of a convo instead of you kind of spraying this on him while he's playing with his kid. But if you're on his side, why are you never by his side, Michael? I get that, Michael. No one wants their kid to grow up there, but you're stuck here. And until you're off the island, it is what it is. Make the best of it. Okay, so here you are interrupting what doesn't concern you. Oh, and you want to build a raft. I don't know, you're probably going to die out there. Like, what the F alien comic is Walt reading? It's so scary. Michael, why do you always have to be so hostile all the time? Oh, okay, that's nice. Nice convo. And ruined by you taking his comic. Fantastic. Look, I don't have kids. I don't know how this works, but I don't think this is going to help the relationship at all. Oh, okay, so his ex is not so nice. Oh, shit, is he okay? God damn, he got hit by a car. What if Walt gets cut by this garbage that you're having him pick through? Like, of course it feels like punishment since it was a demand and then you grabbed his stuff away from him. Sawyer, you shouldn't joke about how you're being accused, but then you actually have it. Also, you kind of deserved being punched in the face. Also, where's Vincent here? Walt, don't think he's not going to get mad at you, kid. Also, Boone, that's rude. Locke, you know what? You're a good guy. Oh, and more yelling from Michael. Surprise. Unnecessary threats again to the hunter of the group who has all the knives. There's clearly a lack of understanding on both parts here, father and son, but that's not the way to bond with a kid, not even a little bit. Why would you send your kid a drawing of someone in a cast? He's not broken. Also, it's kind of depressing. He's 2. Also, maybe draw Penguin instead of a broken dude. Just throwing it out there. We finally know his ex's name. It's Susan. This bitch is lying. She's being so sketchy. I bet she wants either full custody or her partner's gonna adopt him. Knew it. She's actually so manipulative. Not surprising, Michael, considering all you do is yell at him, by the way. Yeah, all you do is yell at him all the time. You know what? I think I hate you. Locke, look, I'm a petty bitch. And I'd be like, well, tough cookies. Your son's missing. All you do is yell at me and threaten me. So bye. Well, I guess I probably wouldn't, say that, but I'd think it. Charlie, please don't read her diary. Be a good boy. Oh, no. And this is why you don't go wandering off, kid. He dropped the leash? Was it not attached to the dog? Wow, so no one ever pays attention to him, hey? Even when his mom was alive, and Brian. Well, that's a nice house. Oh my God, that poor bird. But also, was Walt always this creepy? Did I know that? Was that bird in that picture that died? I hate this island. That roar is either a bear, a monster, a boar, who knows? No, thank you. Oh, shit. What happened? The fuck? Oh, shit. Well, that's sad. You know what? He's not fine, Brian. His mom died. Wow, Brian's just a douche. And Susan just controlled everything. Does anyone ever want Walt? Sad face. Oh, Brian, you mean the creepy bird thing? I mean, that's really the only example. I don't know if you can say that weird things happen around him. I'm just saying. Sounds like you're being dramatic. What are this? Oh, it's letters from Michael. Okay, this is kind of rough. Like strangers meeting. Oh, hell no. It's a polar bear. It's pretty bad CGI, guys. Yowza. Ouch. You know, Walt looks weird in this scene. Like his body doesn't really suit his head. I think there needs to be like a sit down instead of going right into it and walking up to a child and saying, "You're coming home with me." Well, that's nice of you, Michael. Also, fuck you, Brian. We're keeping your dog. Also, poor kid, that's some scary shit. Oh, now he needs the knife, Michael, eh? Just saying. Also, damn kid, you brave. Anyone see where the bear went after? Oh, God, no. Also, can we eat bear? Oh, the poor bear. I hate when animals make sad sounds. Also, Michael, you should probably apologize too. Oh, of course you won't. Of course. Well, that's nice. Well, why didn't you give these to him before? I mean, is it bad that I kind of feel like Michael's kind of being a little manipulative because they got in a fight and now he's like, I want you to love me. So here are all these letters I wrote you and all these pictures I drew. I'm just saying, the timing seems off. Also, Charlie, no, that's not bad, Charlie. Stop reading it. Oh, I really like Charlie. Remember Love and Hope, you guys? Also, what's with this ominous music? Oh my God, it's all related. It's all fucking related. And again, Locke, nice guy, trying to find Vincent in the dark. Look at these BFFs. What are we gonna? What's their ship name gonna be? Block? Bach? Oh my God, Claire? The end.
Beautiful as ever. It was actually quite like.
Yeah, it's very tame. Thank you.
I was actually gonna think it was quite like manic.
I thought it was quite calm.
Like it was really jumped around.
Well, because that's what the episode did. It was
I know.
There's a lot of
I'm just
jumping.
saying.
I like Loon.
What's loon?
Lock
Lock
and
and
Boone.
Boone.
Oh, that's better. Why did I say block? It was like block or bach? No, what is it? Loon?
Loon is great.
Loon's a way better.
Bach?
You like bach?
Bach. Yeah, I like Loon a lot.
Yeah, Loon's a lot
Loon.
better.
They are funny together, like an odd couple.
They are weird. And like, yeah, let's just get right into it. But like, it's weird when Boone tackles
It is
Michael.
weird.
Don't fight my dad.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the vibe I got.
It is weird. Okay, anyway, we should go back because I have a lot to say about that scene. Like a lot.
Which scene?
The one where
Boone tackles Michael.
what leads up to that with
Okay.
Michael and so what is I always forget when we're sitting here. I watched the episode 2 hours ago.
I know.
Can I tell you what the first scene of this episode is? No, I cannot.
Yeah, it's him walking through the thing going, Walt, Walt. And then
And-
he sees
Right.
someone.
And the only reason I remember that is because my first line is Hurley is actually very insightful. He really does hate it.
He hates
When Hurley goes, nah, he hates it. It's like, Hurley, you're bang
true.
on.
And like love again how Jack's trying to be like Mr. helpful and know-it-all.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's just really hard.
Didn't you, or Michael says, didn't you listen to your old man when you grew up? Maybe I listened a little too well.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
weird.
Michael. I mean, Jack.
really want to punch Jack in the face in this episode.
Was that his only line?
No, he's in the scene
Oh, the
with
raft.
the raft
Right.
and the
Yeah.
map and
Right.
again, let's just talk. We didn't really talk about it at the beginning, but the synopsis for this one was fine. But again, on Disney Plus, Disney
Yes,
Plus,
Disney
it's
Plus.
like Shannon or Saeed gets Shannon's help to like look at the map, and it's like that's 4 seconds.
Also, they barely interacted
kidding.
this episode. Like,
Yeah, the synopsises are weird.
I feel like Disney Plus is going too far the other way. They're like, we're going to give away nothing.
No kidding.
We'll just tell you that there are characters. It's just everyone just says like they're on an island.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
someone just made a
hijinks
mistake.
ensue.
Because, like, didn't he asked for help like a different episode, and then remember how she sang at the end?
She was helping him in this episode with the map, though, so that's totally fine.
But not enough that it's like.
But that's what Amanda's saying. It's like that's why it's weird as a synopsis.
I mean, it would be better to say, Saeed shows Jack the map.
But it's just like last episode when it's a Boone-centric episode, and the synopsis on Disney Plus was Kate learns a startling secret about Sun. It's like that's a minute of the episode.
Michelle is more than a minute because we got to see her garden, and then Kate lies some more.
I wonder if Michael knows about the garden. He's probably pissed.
He's probably yelling at her about it.
Doesn't want to settle down on the island.
Yeah, which is like we'll get to that too. But finally, like he's.
So, yeah, Michael finds Walt with, well, they're throwing knives, and Boone's just kind of lounging against a tree, watching from a distance. Go a bit easier on him, man. And Locke's like, see it in your mind's eye, like this, like training session.
Let's talk about that for a second. That's entirely fucked up.
Why?
What are you doing with someone else's kid?
Well, Walt probably just came to him.
That's the thing.
But he is hardcore, like, grooming him. No? I'm not the only one who's worried about this.
I think that...
I did. Okay. Yeah, I did.
No, go ahead.
I had this later in my notes, but I'm just going to say right now, okay? Why do you think Locke has taken such an interest in Walt? And we've seen it since the beginning.
Because he's special.
Yeah.
For sure. And I shouldn't joke about that. Like, I don't mean grooming in, like, I just meant, like, grooming to help him on the island. Kind of like what he's doing with Spoon. I didn't mean the connotation that goes along with. I don't think that that's funny. And I don't think that Locke is like that. But what I'm saying is it is weird. It's not your kid. Okay? And I actually agree with Michael here. I think it's weird to walk into the woods when your son is missing and see him throwing knives with an old stranger.
Okay, but...
It's weird. Sorry, Theresa.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
It's weird, but also I feel like Walt is just coming to him, and maybe Walt has told Locke, and we can't speculate that much, I guess, but that his dad is okay with it, even though Locke should know better, especially that everything that's happened so far with, like, playing games and all these other things that Michael has sort of, like, seen him do with Locke. Locke should know better to be, like, telling Michael, is it okay? Or asking him, right? Just something. But to just do nothing is bad.
I mean, the problem with Michael is that he's always so reactive, right? Yeah. So if he sees Locke and Walt together, he completely flips out. But if Michael needs Walt's or Locke's help, it's like they're best friends. So, I mean, I didn't see it so much as like Locke. I agree with you. Like, I think Walt is the one who's going to Locke and being like, can you do this? Or like, can you show me how to do this? My dad said it's okay. That's what I assume, because I think that if Locke thought it was going to be bad, he wouldn't have done it, which we see later when Michael essentially threatens him and he's like, we can't hang out anymore. Mm-hmm. So I feel like he would have respected that, which is why I don't think it's that weird.
So, but it's funny because, like, Locke clearly sees something in Walt, where the name of the episode comes from, of being special. But there's also something that draws Walt to Locke, because he's continually seeking him out.
So what I think Locke gets into it in this exact scene. So after Michael flips out and sends Walt away, and Michael and Locke have a conversation, I have to be honest, first of all, like, that is when Boone attacks him eventually, and that is just fucking nuts.
It's weird.
Like, Boone is so strange to me in these last couple episodes. I love him, but he is strange. He's going down a weird path.
And that shirt with the cards on it, that was weird.
With the 4?
Oh, I didn't even look at the numbers.
Yeah. I think there's 4.
4 cards, yeah.
Anyway, just want to point that out. What I don't, I finally saw the numbers. I never do. So when I finally do, I get really excited. Michael's right. It's very strange. You don't take someone else's son, but Locke isn't wrong about the kind of reasoning that's going on. Locke does see something special in him, and Locke is right. He's experienced more in this short amount of time than most people do their whole life. Mm-hmm. And he should be nurtured. And it's very clear that he's not bonding with him. He points that out to him as well, right? Yeah. And so clearly Walt, because Michael has no idea how to parent him properly, he's not doing a good job. And Walt is seeking that, like, older male attention from someone
anyone.
else.
And the fact that Locke is leaning into it really hard, obviously there's going to be a connection there.
He's like the only one who really pays attention to him or talks to him. And like, I do understand the like weirdness of seeing your kid throwing knives with like these two dudes, but at the same time, I think there are like assumptions on both sides, right? So like Kip and I assume that like Walt went to him and was like, it's cool. And you're assuming that Locke took Walt out there.
Well, he hasn't really instilled a lot of confidence in me with the way he's been treating like Charlie and Boone.
Yeah, but I don't think Locke's the kind of person to be like, come here, kid, let me.
I love Locke, and I think that when you said earlier that Michael like, you know, gets mad, but then when he needs his help, I think that's everyone with Locke. I think Locke is treated poorly by the group for how much he can add to the group.
And he adds a lot.
I think that he oversteps, and I think it's wrong of him to tell someone that their son, that he needs to be treated like an adult, not a child, and you need to realize his potential. Like, he oversteps here, like,
I agree.
significantly.
I agree that he oversteps. I think that the reason that I'm okay with Locke saying that to him is because Michael's not parenting him at all. Half the time he doesn't want him around, right? Like, someone has to say this to him, otherwise it's just going to keep happening.
See, but that's the thing, like, Locke says what Michael needs to hear, but saying it in the way that he says it to Michael is in a way that Michael will not be receptive of it. Telling Michael, who's already super self-conscious about the fact that he doesn't know how to be a father and parent, telling him that you're not doing a good job of seeing the potential in your son and you're not bonding with him is only going to piss him off more.
Fair.
What Locke needs to do is one of his funky little mystical games with Michael to get him to see it on his own. But for some reason, it's like he's not going to do that with Michael. No. And I can't remember if he does or not, but that is what Michael needs to be able to see what he's doing wrong with Walt.
I agree, because he is just very, like, hostile. He's always, like, just getting mad. And it's interesting because in his backstory, he essentially had no control in his relationship and his, you know, being a father. And then now that he's on this island, he's, like, demanding control. And that's not really how it works, especially when, as we now know, they met prior to getting on this plane.
What do you mean?
Well, like, Michael and Walt. Right?
Yeah, but was that ever...
was that... If anything, I think at this point, we think that they've had a longer lasting relationship.
Walt and Michael?
Yeah.
How old
Like, we didn't think they met on the plane.
No, I don't think they met on the plane. Didn't they meet just prior to getting on the plane? That's what I said.
I know, but you made it sound like...
That was a question.
No, it wasn't a question.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. No, it's not a question. Sorry.
Yeah, it was very, like, because he explains to someone, I think probably son.
Yeah.
At some point that he, or it might have even been Jack.
Just met him or something.
Yeah, that he hadn't been. And, like, that's tough, right?
That is tough.
And we start to see how that unraveled. And quite frankly, it unraveled in a way that Michael had very little control over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm agreeing.
I 100% agree with you, Theresa.
But you're giving me a look like I was wrong.
No, we thought you were saying something different. That's okay, though.
And that's just the thing. Like, Michael's flashbacks, I liked these flashbacks because it spanned longer in time versus just like the immediacy of before getting on the plane. But it was hard to watch because, like, you have this opinion of Michael and it has not been positive this whole time, this whole series so far. We're episode 14. And then you kind of see this backstory where it's like, wow, he has just been dealt just a shitty hand in this whole thing since Walt was conceived, really.
Yeah, his ex is just a bitch.
Yeah.
I'll just say that.
She is not.
She's awful.
A good person.
And she's not very considerate. Like, she's like, well, you got to think about, like, she's so manipulative.
I loved when you said, if he's not working, couldn't he just come with you to Amsterdam? Like, yeah.
I don't really.
Well, clearly she wanted to break up with him.
Exactly.
And, like, as much as she says when you find out later that it's this Brian guy or whatever, and, it wasn't like that then. It's like, clearly it fucking was.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you don't have to live together.
But also, why didn't Michael just say that? It's like, well, I'm not working. Why don't I come? You know?
Yeah, we don't have to be together, but, like, at least then I'll be in Walt's life.
Yeah, exactly. That's
like,
funny.
If you have nothing tying you, I mean, if you want to be with your kid and you're not working, I mean, at this point, we don't know about his, like, family life outside of that, but, like.
So, and they briefly met. So, like, when they're shopping for cribs, like, he briefly mentions that he's an artist, but she kind of mentions it being like, What about your art? And then that's kind of all we really hear about it.
Yeah.
Because we saw him draw the water system thing. And he kind of makes some sort of comment about like, oh, I was an artist in another life or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Not quite that, but.
I mean, it's unfortunate to me how quickly their relationship seems to go from like cutesy, like looking at cribs to I'm moving to Amsterdam without you.
But even like when they're looking at cribs, you kind of see those cracks because like when she's like, when he says, oh, it's not that you think getting married is an antiquated notion and kind of makes a joke that.
Yeah.
So it's like clear that she's already, there's something that she's not wanting to commit to Michael.
Yeah.
In the beginning already. And you kind of see that then. And I mean, yeah, of course it's cute about like this crib is 3 months rent. I've never understood that about expensive baby things like a crib. They're so
Some of them are like
expensive.
$3,000.
It's insane.
Like, why?
It's absolutely nuts. The baby, fucking everyone I know who has a kid, their baby barely sleeps in their crib.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, at least for the first little while.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like I would never pay $3,000 for essentially a cage without a lid.
I don't think I paid $3,000 for my own bed. No way.
Yeah, I don't think I did either. Oh, Michael. I just, like, I do feel for him. Like, I will say, I don't want people to think that I'm not sympathetic to his situation. I just think that from what we've seen, and even in this episode, like, his backstory does make me, I'm not a monster. His backstory does make me feel for him. It's just, if the one approach of you demanding your kid do this, this, and this is not working, like, you got to kind of change tactics.
Yeah.
And I know that his whole motivation for this whole raft thing is like, I don't want him to grow up on this island. I get that. Like, nobody wants that. Nobody wants to be here. But at the same time, like, the garden and the water filtration is more about survival than settling down.
But there are some people who want to be there. Locke wants to be there.
Yeah, but not everybody wants to get off.
So maybe that's
Depending
like,
on the day.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's the first name that came to mind. But like,
No, I know what you're saying. But
for the most part, people like want to leave, right? Like, and for him to just kind of assume like, well, I just think that building a raft and putting your kid on it is way more dangerous.
don't get me started on that part.
Okay, we'll get to that in a second because they do kind of call him out on that, right? Like Shannon's like, you think any of us want to be here kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Like they do kind of call him out, and which is good because it is kind of a weird idea. But like Dan said, it's almost like it's something to show that they're not wanting to be here, that they are still quote unquote stranded on a desert island and they need to find a way off. But do you think Michael wanting to get Walt off has to do with him not wanting to raise his son there? Or do you think it's because he's just jealous that Walt is being, he's forming a bond with other people who do want to be there, aka Locke? I
think it's a combination of both. It's like the thing that, like I said, I've noticed the most about Michael is just he's very like reactive.
Yeah.
Right. So like he sees Locke and Walt together and he freaks out. Then when Walt's missing and he sees Locke, he freaks out, realizes he's not there, and then he's like, yeah, I'll take your help. So I think it's a combination of both. Like I think that he doesn't want I don't think he wants Walt and Locke to have that relationship because he's supposed to have it and he like demands it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like when he like takes that comic away and he's like, you're coming with me to like root through garbage essentially. And he's like, this feels like punishment. He's like, well, it's not. Spending time with me is punishment. It's like, it's what led up to it. That's
exactly.
Punishment.
When he said that, like, why are you surprised at his reaction, Michael?
You're saying, come with me. He said no.
You're always yelling at him.
Yeah, you grabbed his thing and then forced him to come along.
Clearly it's punishment.
Like punishment.
See, I don't think that that's why he wants, I don't think it's either of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think he tells us what it is, which is when Locke and him are having that conversation and he's like, he needs to be treated like an adult and not a kid, and he's grown up really fast. And we're seeing at that time that Michael missed clearly parts of his childhood. Mm-hmm. I think what why he wants him off the island, and he kind of says is like, he's not doing this here. I think he doesn't want Walt to have literally the worst childhood ever. right? Like he wants him off the island because he doesn't want him to have to grow up. Maybe part of it is the Locke piece of it, but I think more so what it is he doesn't want his 10-year-old, because he said to Locke, he's like, he's 10.
Yeah.
And
He's 10. What 10-year-old needs to learn how to fucking throw knives in like the forest?
the kind that's been stranded on an island.
But that's what I think it actually is a motivation. He's like, I'm not doing this here.
Yeah.
Yes, I talked to him like a kid because he's a kid, and yes, he's experienced a lot, but I'm not letting this ruin or define him.
Yeah, and that's a good point because Locke is the first to submit to the island and say, well, this is life now. Let's all learn to live on the island. Whereas that's not everybody's take on it, and that's not what everybody wants. Like, clearly Michael doesn't want that, right? And that's a good point because that's sort of like the catalyst that drives him to say he's going to do something like build a raft, and Shannon can't because she gets seasick. I get really seasick.
I really like the little Shannon Boone, like,
oh,
come and help us build a raft. Like, I don't know what Shannon's
right after she just shit on it.
doing. Like, trying to get Boone back on board, right?
But also, I don't think that it was appropriate for him to be like, as a bulimic, like I thought you'd be happy
that's
losing
really
1 or
rude.
2 or sizes. I was like, that's unnecessary. Like, that's just cruel.
And it's just interesting because like that whole what Boone went through last episode seems to be just so that he could have this interaction with Shannon and be like, just basically like,
F you.
yeah, just say F you and walk off. It's like, wow, Locke, you did all that just so that Shannon can't manipulate Boone anymore.
But so that he can manipulate Boone, though, right? Like
That's true.
that's part of the problem I'm having with Locke in this season. Is like, and why I don't think it's appropriate for him to hang out with a 10-year-old. Like, because he
is very manipulative.
right? And like, is some of the stuff he said correct? Sure.
Yeah.
Like that.
But yeah, so that whole like comic, you kind of touched on the comic book scene being awkward. It's like, so he tries to bond over like art with him for like 5 minutes. And the problem is that Michael, and it's very clear because as all this is happening, these flashbacks are unfolding and we're seeing that he tried for a while and then he gave up because that's kind of what Michael does.
Yeah.
And that is where I'll say, I do think I think it's circumstance and that Susan lady is a biatch.
Oh, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
But also, we don't know what their history was. So maybe she has reason to believe that this is what Michael's like.
And that maybe he shouldn't be in the picture.
Because Michael tried, and then he got in that accident, and then he gave up, clearly, when she came and was like, sign it over, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we see him talk to him about the art for like 5 minutes, and then he gives up.
Because Walt's not interested immediately, Michael's just like, well, fuck you then. Give me that. Like,
Because he's reactive.
Exactly. Yeah.
100%. He's so reactive.
Did we talk quickly about, because we're kind of jumping over to now, I can't remember, but Michael talking to Sun about it is kind of cute.
Yeah.
When he's trying to explain to her, like, I just don't know
why
what
he
to
can't
do.
see I'm on his side.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. He doesn't talk to him like a kid. Let's just, like, you want to be you're on his side, but like you're not showing that in any way, shape, or form. Because every time you're with him, you're either telling him to go away, you're telling him to do what, stay here, you can't play golf, you can't this. Like, that's not treating him like a kid. Like, you're kind of treating him like you don't want him here.
Yeah, I agree. Because he doesn't ever really do anything for Walt. He might think he is, in that maybe he feels he's protecting him in some way or another. Mm-hmm. But from Walt's perspective, all he does is get yelled at by Michael or, shunned by Michael.
Yeah.
And you're right, I don't really see many moments. So there's a few cute little moments here and there, but like where Michael is treating him like a child and like his son versus just a burden.
Yeah.
I really liked, and it was very subtle, but Walt's eyebrows when Michael said, you'd think working with your old man is a punishment, and Walt kind of gives him this look like, yeah. Yeah, like I thought that was pretty hilarious. Yeah. Good timing.
Especially because also you're rooting through plain debris.
Exactly.
Anyway, Susan's a bitch.
Susan is a bitch. She just like...
She's so selfish.
Yeah.
Holy.
And even, like when Michael sort of sees past it and is like, what is this really about? And she's like, Brian wants to adopt Walt. Later we learn Brian didn't want to adopt Walt.
And you can tell, even
Yeah. When they're interacting.
look at me, look at me, look at
No
me.
one's looking at me. Like, ooh, that was almost like
That was creepy.
Exorcist.
That
That
was
scene's
weird.
fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get to that, though, I do have a really important note.
Okay.
Why are you looking at me?
And I'm just going to read it word for word.
I'm so scared.
Oh, I'm
It
excited.
just says, like, with no context. I'm distracted by how hot Sawyer is, and I'm not proud.
Not surprising.
He's
is
so
hot.
beautiful. And
Yeah, it
such a
goes on.
dick. Yeah, no, you
So
guys.
just one note.
And then it's a space, so clearly it was a separate thought. So this is clearly that scene where
just
Charlie
continues,
is
yeah.
trying to get the diary.
Yeah.
So that first, this is clearly how it played out. I saw Sawyer sitting there leaning against the whatever, and I was like, I'm distracted by how hot Sawyer is, and I'm not proud. Then clearly there was some interaction.
You didn't even.
Because then it's followed up with, he's so beautiful and such a dick, but I just love him so much. I'm so sorry.
Well, don't be sorry. It's hilarious.
Oh, that's funny.
He's so beautiful.
He was being a dick, though.
Oh yeah, but
Unnecessarily.
but like Kate said, you didn't read it, and he's like, I didn't get around to it. Like you
He
didn't
wasn't
fucking
going
read it.
to.
No, he was never
He's
going
just being a jerk in his Sawyerly way. Like, kind of for him, it's almost like it's how he connects with people, which is really fucked up. But it's like him having fun, thinking others are playing along when they're clearly not.
Yeah, they're not amused by it.
Oh, not amused at all.
I mean, Kate probably is. She
Probably liked it a little.
She's like, oh, he's so
I was like, I don't think she was amused as much as turned on.
Yeah.
But Charlie, like he was being mean to Charlie. Like
He was,
He's mocking
absolutely.
him, and then Charlie hitting his like, and I love again that we still have the continuity
Yeah,
of
'cause
that.
he hit
It
him
would
in
not
his-
have healed yet.
No.
That was mean, though. That would
was
have been
mean.
so painful.
And I'm not gonna
Oh,
lie.
he's smart of Charlie.
Charlie deserved that punch to the face after that, I think.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No?
I think,
Okay.
I mean,
You're very sensitive towards
Sawyer's beautiful.
I will say, like, yeah, Sawyer deserved it. I don't know if Charlie did. I mean, I guess it's a reaction, right? Someone hits you, you hit the Mac, but
No, the diary. Let's talk about that for a little bit, like the little subplot of Charlie finding Claire's diary. I mean, clearly he wants it to read it. Why else would he
Charlie.
be looking for it?
Well, I think the idea is like one of this. I always look at all like a million different synopses because now it's funny to me. And I think it's actually the, like, you know, when you Google something
Yeah, it just shows up.
and it just shows like a little kind of like thing at the top and you go like episode guide there. I think it was that one said that Charlie was looking for Claire's diary to try to get some sort of insight into what happened to her.
Oh,
So, in watching this episode, though, I'm not sure about that because it kind of has like a chicken and the egg feel to it. Because is that what he was doing, or do we glean that when he discovers something that's helpful?
yeah.
yes,
Right?
exactly.
It's like, I feel like it's a little bit of a reach to, I mean, she was kidnapped. I don't know why she would have something in her diary that would explain why she was kidnapped personally. Like, I think that's a bit of a reach to assume that there would be some kind of connection, but she was having very vivid dreams. So maybe
Well-
that's why he's assuming.
And he's very obviously conflicted about reading it with that really hilarious sort of up down moment.
Oh my God.
But like,
And then Black Rock.
okay, here's the synopsis from Nikki Stafford's unofficial guide to finding Lost.
Okay.
Michael becomes worried when he can't find Walt and recalls why he has been absent throughout Walt's short life.
I mean, that's
That's
pretty accurate.
Yeah.
yeah, and that's like the main focus of the episode.
Yeah, and I like when the synopses do that because the other stuff usually forms such a small part of
Yeah.
the overlying storyline that I'd rather just discover that in the episode,
Agreed.
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So give me that. It's a Michael. Then we know what we need to know. We know it's a
Yeah.
Michael-centric episode.
Not what was the other one about? Shannon helping Saeed read the maps, like for all of it, like you said, 5 seconds.
So weird.
But that was an interesting scene too, because it shows that they're trying to find something. He's finally connecting some of these dots along the map, and he's thinking, okay, maybe this is a location on the island, not of the island. At first, they're thinking the transmission tower, but then when Charlie finds the diary and realizes that she's sort of making these connections to the Black Rock, which the French woman said, you know, like maybe that's what's on the map.
It's all related.
It was really cool.
100%.
And then Claire.
Very cool. Loving it. It's very interesting.
I'm just going to read this. This is from Unofficial Guide to Finding Lost by Nikki Stafford. If you freeze frame Claire's diary entry, you can see her entry the day before she got on the plane, where she says tomorrow is going to suck, and with her big belly, she's going to try to get into business class. She mentions there's a DVD that she needs to return to Blockbuster, and on the other side, you can see her packing list, which includes makeup, quote-unquote bathroom stuff, brush, water, books, camera, gum, hat, jerky, CDs, and player, and candy. And she's drawn drops of water along the side, which might be tears. In block letters, she's written, "I hate him," across the bottom.
Yeah, that
That must have been towards Thomas.
That's what I was assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is really cute that you see how much she cares for Charlie. Because I think they're adorable.
They're so cute. Like I said, hope.
So anyway, we don't know why he's looking for, yes, in the end, it maybe helps a little bit, but I think it's more, I like to think it's because he does want to just keep it from being lost and like have her stuff and feel close to her.
Yeah, I mean, that's possible.
I think he wanted to read it. I think he wanted to see what she thought of him.
I mean, that
And
too.
he did, and it was cute.
I really did.
But you really
Sorry,
shouldn't
such a
read other
dick.
people's.
Yeah.
When he's like, I think he's stalking me. Like, you're such a dick.
It's washed up. But also, how funny was it when Saeed was like, "You read her diary?" And he's like, yeah, I know, I'm going to hell," or something like that.
I know.
It was pretty funny.
He is pretty funny.
Bloody scum.
Yeah, that's I'm like, well, as long as you're aware that you're...
So I need to go back to Michael for a second.
It is his episode,
Yeah.
you guys. I'm sorry. I will say, so when Locke talks to Walt, and I think Locke does some good stuff
does a
there.
good job, yeah.
Right? So he does take what Michael said to heart, and he does tell Walt he needs to kind of do that. And then, of course, Michael shows up and fucking overreacts and freaks
Always,
out.
yeah. Exactly.
And then says, if you come near my son again, I'll kill you.
Yeah,
luck.
overreaction. That's what even like
Fantastic.
Locke's face was like, okay.
Good
Nice.
luck.
Yeah.
Your son
Try.
has better knife
Yeah.
skills thanks to me now.
Like, do we remember that that's the guy with all the knives?
Yeah, exactly.
All the
Like,
knives.
nice try.
Like,
That's funny.
Also, like, just calm down, man. Like, you don't know what happened. You can't immediately jump down this guy's throat. Like, he's just sitting,
Michael's just always like charged up. Like,
always angry.
he's just always like ready to burst.
He does have an anger problem.
Yeah.
He's just very
Seen
reactive.
very closely right after that with what I consider to be the worst fucking scene in the episode when he throws his comic book in the fire.
Oh, I hated
That was, again,
that.
just unnecessary.
That was so mean.
Like, I'm sorry. If my
You
parent did
want
that,
to be close to him?
that's the way to do it.
Awful.
Yeah, like that was just mean. Like that's the only thing he was reading the entire. He's like, you don't even read Spanish.
Trying to learn Spanish. It was
God,
cute.
why don't you just? He needs something to do. There's no television. There's no Wi-Fi. There's no. He has nothing.
Did they
I'm sure
have
there was Wi-Fi then either.
I was going to say
2000
2004. Did they have
Did we
Wi-Fi?
not have Wi-Fi in 2004? I feel like we did.
I
Where
don't
was
think
I?
so.
What was I doing?
I would have been in grade 11.
It was a year after I graduated.
Nice.
No, 2004? Oh, yeah, I graduated 2003. Oh, boy.
Did you?
I
Yeah.
wasn't in university yet, so I don't remember.
Are you born in 85?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there was Wi-Fi.
I don't think so.
Can anyone tell us?
Can anyone
are
tell
we
us
just
in the
Luddites here?
comments?
Or?
Just,
Basing it solely on
is there Wi-Fi in 2004?
when I was in university. Well, regardless, he doesn't have a cell phone. He
There was
doesn't.
Wi-Fi when I was in university.
Yeah, there was.
For the
because
first
how
little
would
while?
we use
No,
the
because
interwebs at school?
In a computer lab.
No, we would work in the fishbowl and stuff together.
I don't know that we had Wi-Fi right away though. Like I think that's like 2010.
I think
don't
so
know
because
about that, you guys.
in 2008, I drove across Western Canada and you could get Wi-Fi in Safeways. And that's where I always had to stop to
And
access Wi-Fi.
same thing because when
you
Dad and I
didn't
did
have
ours, we
data.
printed out maps from
Yeah.
Google Maps.
We used to
yeah, but
print
that's
out
not
maps.
the same as Wi-Fi. Like that's
It's
cell
close.
It
service.
kind of is though, but
You're telling me there was no cell service and we had Wi-Fi?
No, but you didn't
we're
have
looking
like
this
the
up.
3G or
no, there wasn't
5G.
data because
yeah, data.
but there was very little Wi-Fi though, if any.
Oh my God! Wait, hold on. When did Wi-Fi happen? This is ridiculous. This is insane.
Okay, well, it was invented in 1997,
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it was common.
but it was popularized in 1997. No, that's not popular.
That can't be right. Popular.
Oh, guys, according to this, it began slowly in 2004.
Okay, so yeah, Wi-Fi. His parents
But no,
are rich.
like not that kind of Wi-Fi.
It would have been in like hospitals.
Like even at his house, he was reading a fucking bird
was doing
book
his
instead of
homework.
He could use the internet for that. They probably didn't even have internet. It was probably dial-up still.
First of all, that's still internet. Okay.
yeah, but barely.
I know.
Barely anything.
Do you remember when like you would be on the internet and then someone pick up the phone? It was just done.
Just done. Like, what the hell? It just
I
finished.
don't even understand how that happened. And you would have to wait for the
Mom, can I use the internet? No, I'm expecting a call.
then you just wait. Then you wait till the nighttime.
yeah.
And, like sneak
oh, God.
on.
That
Oh,
was
my
so
God.
much fun, but actually awful. If you think about it now.
Yeah, could you imagine?
I used to have to leave the internet on all night to download like one song.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. God, that was rough.
That's funny.
Okay, fine. Not Wi-Fi. He doesn't have any of his books. He doesn't have any of his
N64s,
Game Boys or what,
Game Boys.
TV, whatever. He doesn't have any of that. He has one comic, and it is in Spanish. And you have now thrown it in the garbage because you got angry.
Yeah, no, he's reactive.
That was
Then
a
again, we're still
dick
kind
move.
of seeing like that, you know, his son was about to turn 2 when she came to say, I don't want you to have anything to do with him. So he hasn't had any interaction with a child in 8 years.
Yeah.
He does not know how to parent.
Or really be around kids. Like,
It doesn't seem like it.
it's hard to interact with children when you're never around them.
He just doesn't seem that like nice of a person.
No.
Like
But you're right,
I
he
hate to say it,
doesn't.
as like just in general, like he's not really that nice to Son. Like he really only talks to her if he needs something. He's not nice to Locke, clearly. He's not that nice to Walt. Like who else has he interacted with without, I mean, I guess when he was trying to save Jack and he's like, I'm a contractor. Like maybe that was the only
I
time.
do think this episode, like, and we'll get into the rest of the flashbacks, but it really did give me a lot of insight into like, he's had a very rough go of it.
Yeah.
And like, I think he has a lot of anger, which we see come out very reactively.
I just think that there's like a sense of fairness that isn't reciprocated. So it's like, yeah, you've had a tough life. And I get that. Obviously, like clearly something's gone on with him that he's like so angry. But at the same time, like, yes, you don't know how to be a parent, but you do know how to be a person, right? Like at the end of the day, like whatever happened to you, whatever is happening to you currently has happened to the exact same person that you're now in charge of. And there's no sympathy there. It's just you barking orders at him, telling him to stay put, telling him to go away. That's not how you would treat anybody, let alone someone that you're supposed to care about. So, I mean, I get that you're angry, you're reactive, but how's Walt supposed to feel at 10 years old when his mom died, God knows how long? His stepdad didn't want him, and now his father's yelling at him.
doesn't know that part.
And he's stuck on the island. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
That's the
Michael's
part-
not a good dad. I won't ever argue that, but I think he's a much better I wouldn't say he's a good person either necessarily, and I don't like Michael, and I really don't like Michael later on. Like, I just want to, anyone who hasn't watched all of it and they're watching this for the first time, you think Michael is bad now.
Oh, you're in for it.
is it now that I genuinely don't
Like,
know
you
what he did
have
out there.
no clue
I feel like I'm
what
watching it
happens
for
with
the
this
first time.
piece of shit. But right now,
I know like some of the overarching things that happen through the series, but like I don't remember like any details.
right now, I'm like, if this was me, and I often do that, I often look at the characters and I'm like, look, if this was me, how would I react? And I'm not sure that if I was Michael, I would be that much better at it.
I think you would be. No, because there's a difference. Like I said, as a person, he's so reactive and he's just not that nice. I think that if you found out that you now had to take care of someone, you would not be that. Like, you want them to respect you. You want them to think of you as a father, but you don't spend any time with them. Right? Like,
But we also haven't seen Michael really interact with anyone
other than Son.
off the island.
Off the island.
off the
Before.
island.
So we've only
Yeah.
really seen him interact with people he doesn't know or other people after this traumatic event. We see him really interact with the nurse, and
yeah.
and that's kind of
And
it.
it was cute, honestly.
Yeah, and Brian and Susan. Really, that's it.
Yeah.
And so like we don't really know.
If he's a good person or not.
Well, yeah, I guess. But what I was thinking was, yeah, the only interaction we see with the nurse is like he doesn't seem like that bad off island in flashbacks. And when Brian comes to visit him, he genuinely seemed like on the right track in that moment. Absolutely. He was just like, what the fuck are you doing here? Instead of with Walt. And like he sees through Brian so fast where it's like, so there is some good to Michael, and it's hard to find it though.
and don't get me wrong, like Michael, there is like shades of gray to a lot of these characters, and we've only seen Michael, and arguably a lot of them. Yeah. We've only seen them at their worst off island. Yeah. But in particular, we've only seen Michael at his worst. We've seen Michael when he's got this weird surprise pregnancy. Clearly. Mm-hmm. We see him when his kid's getting taken away. We see him when he's in a car accident. Yeah. We see him when he finds out he has to take the kid back. And do I think Michael is as good of a person as Jack or Sawyer or Hurley or whatever? No. But I don't think he is. This episode fixes things for my relationship with Michael.
Me too. It does. Absolutely it does. I think in that final scene, or not the final scene, but the scene where he's picking up Walt, also, yes, there would have been some like more of a sit down type situation than just this man showing up being like, I'm taking you home. Yeah, that was with me.
I'd love to know the legalities of this.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God.
Well, I guess Brian's a lawyer. He could have drafted something.
That's true.
Yeah. But just in the fact that he sort of shielded Walt from
nice.
Michael's douchiness.
That's beautiful.
And was kind of like, yeah, F you, Brian, we're taking the dog. And, you know, like,
I will say I gave him points for that because like Brian's a dick. Mm-hmm. And like, yeah, you take his dog.
And that to me was, I want to jump back to the scene before that after, so don't let me forget, but that scene was beautiful to me because Michael's the bad guy to Walt right now. And it could have easily been fixed by being like, I don't want this either, but Brian doesn't want you.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't do that because he doesn't want to hurt him, because he knows that in the end, that would just be like catastrophic for a child to hear, right? Oh God, yeah. So I have a lot of, he gained a lot of points for me on that. And then the dog thing is just fine. It's not my dog, it's Brian's dog. Brian said you could have him.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. Good, quick thinking. But yeah, I want to jump back to the scene before because it's very interesting. Okay. So the scene before, like the flashback scene before, or I guess two before that, is the one where we see Walt sitting there reading the book. Mm-hmm. And we see Susan and Brian and the bird thing. Yeah. First of all, we have talked about the bird thing because it leads into the polar bear thing. And I don't know what's going on with Walt, but he is special. Let's just say special is not the word I would use. No. Sorry. I am more on team Brian on that one. But very interesting, unique flashback style. Because they're Michael's flashbacks. So why do we have a scene of Walt and Susan and Brian? Michael wouldn't have been privy to any of that. So, and that's not usually how we do flashbacks.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's almost became a Walt flashback as well.
But even then, is it a Walt flashback or is it more of like a Brian flashback? Because that scene seems to be from Brian's perspective.
Yeah, because Brian was like the whole scene was so tensely uncomfortable.
And I think it's to show us, like, I understand narratively why it was done, because we need to see that Brian is not on board with this. We have to see that Susan's getting weak, and we have to see that there's something going on with Walt, right? Mm-hmm. Like, and that's fine. But I just think the way it was done was very interesting, because I also think that could have been accomplished still from Michael's perspective. I think we could have had just the scene. I think we could have cut that scene and just had the scene where Brian comes to him. Because in that scene, Brian tells him, she's dead. Yeah. Need you to take him. And the kid's fucking weird.
Well, and you're right, because we know she died. That wouldn't have been a shocker. We know that's why Walt's with Michael. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it is interesting. I didn't even really think anything of it.
No, me neither.
Other than it is a Michael flashback episode. And yeah, that wouldn't have been Michael's perspective.
And he wouldn't have even really necessarily known about it.
No,
so it's not even
I don't think he would have known
a weird shared memory.
Yeah.
And I actually think I get people probably like that scene, but I actually don't. And I think the narrative would have been stronger without it, because it kind of took me out of it. And I don't like how, quite candidly, I don't give a shit what Brian thinks of Walt.
Yeah.
Like, you're an asshole. Like, and I do think it would have been more nuanced and a little bit more like creepy if we didn't see that scene with the bird and we just had Brian kind of saying to Michael, like, you got to take him. Like, there's something
odd
things
about him.
happen.
Yeah.
And then we're like, what things? But now we're just kind of like, okay, a bird flew into a window. Okay, whatever. A bird flew into the window. Because even in that scene happened, I like looked at Brian and we know, we're privy to some like later knowledge. So I don't think it's a secret that something's going on with Walt. But when Brian's like staring down at him, I'm like, what the fuck do you think's going on here, Brian? A bird flew into the window.
I know. I didn't get that either. I thought that was a bit of an overreaction.
He's a little bit creepy when he's like,
I thought he was just being a kid who was like annoyed.
Is it dead? And then he's like, yeah. And then he's just like, and then he just walks away. Like, that's a little weird.
But I think narratively,
I think it's because I would have cried.
I would have enjoyed more, like, if I didn't know, like, because again, that scene is like, oh, Susan's like, oh, I'm getting fluey. And the bird, I think I would have been like way more like, what's going on if this guy showed up and he's like, who are you? And you don't even know who that is at that point.
Yeah, because we hadn't even seen Brian.
So we only know Brian from that scene. So if this guy shows up at the door, our last bit of narrative on the back is that Brian wants to adopt him. And we leave it at that. And then we have Brian show up at his door, however many.
Yeah.
So that's how I would have preferred.
Yeah. And I like the whole Walt, I don't know, specialness thing. Like the two instances this episode are essentially the bear and the bird, right? Like, has there been anything else?
Well, there's arguably the bear in the first. And I think it's alluded to that the reason he can do the knife thing so well after Locke like gets him to concentrate is also because of this like specialness that he's tapping into.
Yeah.
So I just think again with that whole scene thing, it would have been way more clever.
Yeah.
I just feel like they were it was a little too on the nose. Like maybe the network was like, we need
some more explanation.
More tied into, because I think it would have been cooler if we're just like left with Brian's
just showing up
and Brian's interpretation out off island where we didn't actually see anything, and then we only see the weird stuff on island, and that's the connection. I think that would have been cool.
Yeah, that's interesting because it was an odd. I don't think we ever see that again where someone gets a flashback that's not even their episode. Maybe we do. I can't remember.
And that's the thing, like that might not be. It's just particularly in this one, I found it, and I was trying to like kind of think back to, because the other two that would have been kind of like shared narratives in a sense would be Sun and Jin's, but I think everything was from Sun's perspective.
That was more Sun's,
and then Boone and Shannon. I think everything was from Boone's.
Boone, yeah.
So it's a weird one. So I don't know exactly why they did it, and I don't think it was entirely necessary. And I just think let's not like nail it on the head so much right now. Like let's build up to it a bit more.
Yeah, I feel like maybe it was, well, the bear's not obvious enough. We need something else. So let's throw a dead bird in here because he's pissed off. He's not getting attention.
Yeah. Also, why doesn't anyone ever want Walt?
Yeah, that was sad.
Sad. He just can't get attention.
No, poor kid.
So he runs off.
Oh man, that bear.
That's
so
CGI
bad.
though.
So bad.
You know what they didn't have in 2004? Good
graphics. That's bullshit.
Talk
because
about
Lord of the Rings
Wi-Fi.
came out in 2003.
Oh wow, yeah. Because that one was bad. It looked like
I guess they don't have $100 million budget for.
They probably spent it on, island things.
But well, man, yeah, it was rough.
That was not good.
Like they should have just like animated it. Would have been better.
I think cartoon. Sawyer in a bear costume would have been better. Like,
oh yeah, that's the thing. That's funny because like a lot of reviewers are talking about how like the performances are really good in the episode, like the story is really good, the backstory is really good, but it's like that bad CGI just takes so much away.
Oh yeah, because you can't help but laugh. Like,
well, exactly.
What are this?
Yeah. So, and like you said, kind of at the beginning, when he gets in trouble, he accepts Locke's help, and Locke helps get him back.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. And I like Locke. And what I love about Locke is that he doesn't hold grudges. He doesn't say, you're on your own.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's what I mean. If it were me, I'd be like, no.
But he would never do that. Because he would never let anything bad happen to Walt.
Yes.
Which is why I said, like, when I said grooming earlier, I wasn't trying to give a connotation of anything. Because I don't think he would ever harm him.
No.
But I do think he's manipulative.
No, I know what you mean. There's like a word on the tip of my tongue.
He's like
kind of training him, I guess.
Yeah.
But Yeah, like trying to
mentoring him?
Mentoring, I think maybe, but isn't he supposed to be mentoring Boone?
Yeah.
Boone.
I mean, I had 3 mentors at work, but
Loon.
Loon.
Or
And then there was
Bach?
at one point there was a Chalk. Charlie Locke.
Oh, yeah.
Charlie Locke
Chalk.
moment.
Yeah.
Locke's got a whole lot of BFFs. He
And then later
collects
there'll be some jock moments.
them. Oh.
Not really, actually.
When they're going through the forest looking for Vincent, their relationship is weird. Like
Who's?
Boone and Locke.
Oh, yeah.
Loon. Because,
Loon.
because like, I mean, it's funny in a sense because like Boone's just like, I can't hear anything. Are you sure that thing works? Like Locke's like, you can't hear everything, Boone. The sooner you realize that, the better. Like again, it's like cryptic, insightful sentence, but like Boone, it's a dog whistle. You know you can't hear dog whistles.
Yeah, it's literally
so
at a frequency
strange.
we can't hear. I just want to make it clear that I would, in fact, help Michael find his kid.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
no.
just leave him to his own devices, mainly because I would not be convinced that he would be able to find him on his own. Just
No,
FYI.
for sure. For sure.
I'm not a bad person, I promise.
No, we don't think so.
So in the end, they prevail and Walt is found and the dog's missing yet again.
Yeah, and then Michael is like,
Dog's missing yet again.
here's this. Okay, I don't even know how he went missing.
Who?
Vincent, because the leash is like super tight
He
around
heard
his
something
hand.
and then went running after it.
Yeah, but why did the leash completely fall off?
It like snapped off, and then and Walt was carrying it,
It's very weird.
and then I think Walt just dropped it, probably running after.
Wound around his hand. Very weird. Anyway, then he gives him a box of letters.
Yes.
With pictures or drawings that he's done, which I thought was
Well,
sweet.
cards and letters and drawings. Yeah.
It's interesting because he says to Walt, like, you know, these are for you. And he's like, how come I never got them? And he's like, my mom never gave them to me. And Michael's like, well, she never threw them out either. So that means she probably did want you to have them one day. But my first thought actually was from when he was given them, that the nanny just kept them.
That's what I thought
That's
too.
what I
Yeah,
thought,
like
too.
behind her back.
Because the nanny was like,
I
you
thought
should
he should
have
have
these.
these,
Yeah.
And it was like tucked away. In like
Yeah. Where only she could find
Yeah.
them.
So I don't think Susan ever I hate that bitch.
Yeah.
No,
I don't think she
Susan-
wanted that either.
Like, I think
she wanted him to just kind of fade away
Yeah.
and be like, well, your dad died and this is Brian.
It was I liked that moment between Walt and Michael. I thought it was really nice. And it did overall, like the story, learning more about Michael and seeing his like, no, he's not perfect. I really overall don't like Michael as a character. I think he's not a strong character. Kind of one note, but I did loosen up a little bit against Michael in this because you do see what bad hand he's been dealt, and
Yeah.
it would be really tough.
Absolutely.
Like when you, like Amanda, when you say, I try to see what I would do, and yeah, it would be insanely tough to take on that task of being a parent after seeing everything that happened.
Oh, heck yeah.
But I liked it, and I think Michael has been redeemed a little bit. I'm just throwing this out there. I'm warming to Michael,
No.
and I'm warming to Kate.
you guys, it was really lovely to be in this podcast. There used to be 3 hosts, and unfortunately, Kip was off air today. Told us that he's no longer able to do the podcast, even though he does most of the work.
I can't believe you would fire him over that comment. To each their own.
I would fire him over that comment if I had that power.
I would not. I would keep you on.
I'm kidding. No, what the fuck? Warming to Kate? Where did that come from, though? There's no Kate in this.
But that's the thing. Like, I don't know.
Her absence?
She was in
Makes the heart grow fonder.
She was in it. She was talking to Charlie.
I just like, there's moments with these non-Kate centric episodes. I like Kate because she's so
You know what?
good on the island.
I often am like, the people I like the most in my life, the people I don't ever see. When it's about them, I hate them. When it's not about them, I like them. Great friendship. Great fandom.
But I'm just saying, like, I left this episode being like, Michael's really grown on me after this. And well, I wouldn't say really grown on me. And actually, so is Kate. Like,
That is interesting. Like Kate got maybe 3 minutes.
I know, but because I'm so used to just like
Hating her because of
just being annoyed with her.
You know what? That just shows me that I didn't talk about her enough today. You know what? No, but you're right. She didn't do anything annoying in this episode. She's actually very cute with Sawyer, and
with Charlie.
I love the way Kate deals. Here again, I'm being so benevolent today.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
After you said you would just fire me if you could.
I'm being benevolent to Kate. Okay.
So benevolent.
Because I will say this, I love the way Kate deals with Sawyer.
Like, what do you mean?
Like with her whole just like Sawyer stop and
yeah.
then like you didn't read it, you weren't gonna read it. Like she just gets him now.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And I do love that. I love the Kate Sawyer interactions.
Which is unfortunate because that leads to a lot of
Problems
problems.
for everyone involved.
Yeah, but
very
that's
cute.
for another episode. And go ahead.
We have to finish it up on the
Yes.
most important thing though.
100%. I was just going there. Guess who walks through that
Claire's
jungle?
back, baby.
Claire is back.
Claire.
Claire.
So how long have we been without the
Actually, let's figure that out.
It's been a week and a-
This
a
is
week and a
day
few days.
27.
This is what they said. She's been gone for a little over a week.
that's
And this is Claire's episode here, which is day... I also have pages.
The página.
Raised by another 13 to 27.
So that's more like 2 weeks. Nope.
No,
I don't know how to do
no.
math. Yeah, it is.
It is because 14 to 21 is 1 week. 14 to 21.
She's not been gone 2 weeks in the island time.
It's supposed
Yes.
to be. They said.
Oh, that's solitary.
Just over.
Raised by another is days 10, so even longer.
no.
That can't be right.
That is right. Days 16. I'm all over the place here. It's day 16.
We are your resident experts on how.
No,
the
we
show
never
works.
said we were experts.
It's about 3 episodes though. Is what I meant.
but-
Like how many episodes has it
Yeah,
been?
but day 16 is when she goes missing, and day 27 is
So
when
yeah,
she comes
just
back.
over a week.
Yeah, so about 10 days.
Week and a half.
That's fucked up, and I'm very excited for those
That was weird.
episodes.
Me too. Yeah.
I'm not. I don't remember what.
Charlie's going to be thrilled, and then he's going to be devastated.
I don't remember anything. This is so unfair.
Spoiler alert if that'll come out in
Spoiler
a week.
alert!
God.
All right,
Okay, so
let's do it up. Let's hear.
get these.
Let's hear Michael.
Let's see
This
where
is
he goes.
the
Oh my God.
ultimate question. Can Michael pull himself out of last place on a Michael-centric episode where he is the most endearing we've seen him be yet?
And
The
where he
most
gets
endearing.
Well, and he gets like a lot of slack because
Yeah.
you will never see him in a better light. I don't
Can
think.
we just talk about how we do not base rankings solely on flashbacks? All right.
Okay.
It is through the entirety of the
Yeah.
episode.
Michael's still lost.
He's very upset.
Michael did a lot of yelling. He did a lot of threatening.
But
He threw that magazine or
That was
the
really
comic in the
awful.
garbage. He said
in the fire,
in the fire. That's what the fire.
That was fucking cruel.
it was cruel.
Takes the kid's comic away and then forces him to do work with him and then pretends to be the he's like, you don't want to work with your old man. And he's like, this feels like a punishment. It's punishment to work with me? Yes, because you literally took
Oh,
my
100%.
took my shit away.
You're a pile of shit, Michael.
Yeah, so I'm sorry.
All right.
Like we can't it doesn't
get it.
balance.
So, and who's in last place for this episode?
Michael.
Okay.
First of all, it's not for this episode, it's to this point in the series.
Okay, continue.
With negative 1,395.
What was he last week?
1,345.
He went down further.
Okay. You know what? I don't have the number.
That's okay.
No, it's fine,
Sorry,
Theresa.
let's hear
We're not
everything.
judging your
No.
ranking.
You guys are all judging.
No.
No, we love how much you're completely fair to Michael in your assessment of the show.
Son of a bitch.
Not at all biased.
Michael goes minus 50 plus 25 plus 25 plus 25 minus 50 plus 25 minus 100 minus 50 minus 25 plus 50 plus 50 plus 25. Okay, he goes up and down.
So he went up quite a bit.
Yeah.
No,
And that 100 was for sure the comic book
Yeah.
in the fire.
Oh, 100%.
I'm surprised it
I'm
wasn't
surprised.
1,000.
Yeah, same.
I was like, you son of a bitch. That was mean. That was very cruel.
It's cruel.
Yeah.
The only thing he has left. His dog has gone missing for the 100th time.
Anyway,
Shannon.
that's fair.
negative 820. Kate, negative 610. Boone, -5 or -5. Jin, 15. Sawyer, 155. Walt, 205. Saeed, 320. Jack, 370. Claire, 375. Locke, 680. Hurley, 750. Charlie's 795. And Sun, 845.
And that's why you're sunny side up 42.
Sunny side up.
42.
42.
Sunny side up, 42.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sun's a great character.
She's just, she's the real MVP.
She's a new hope.
And
Yes.
spoiler alert, not really, but I read a thing, thanks to the Facebook group we're in, that has given me new insight into my biggest issue with Sun and Jin.
Oh, interesting.
What's your biggest
So-
issue with Sun and Jin?
Well,
I
we
can't
can't talk
say.
about that.
Oh, crap.
But
Why
We did on one of our spoiler islands.
yes,
If
so
you're-
go listen. But
Yeah.
I and another spoiler island in the future, we'll talk about it. I now have I'm less angry about.
Wow,
my
I
issue
need
with-
to hear about this.
Angry. What?
So
Why am I the forgetful one?
let us move on
To our ratings.
keeping in mind that one Dan gave this
8.
an 8.
Holy shit.
I think the first 8 of Dan's life.
I think so.
I think the
Highest
next,
he's ever rated anything.
Anything.
I think it's like 7.5 or like 7 was like the highest
Yeah.
or something
Yeah.
before that.
So
All right, well, I'll go first. So I think for this episode, I am going to give it a 7.6.
wow, less than Dan. I don't think we've ever rated something
Never.
worse than Dan.
No.
I don't think so.
I think like yes, Michael's had a very redeeming episode. I feel I do. Teresa's shaking her head profusely, but it was just there was not as much island furtherness that I would have liked to have seen, and that CGI bear was so bad. Like they should have just seen that in post and just said we got to do something else. No bear would have been
Anything
better.
else.
Or even if they just take away the side profile.
Above or it was all bad.
just at least do it from the front because
The front was good because that was an actual puppet. I read that was like a puppeteer,
better.
right?
Just do that. If we see it's
Yeah.
a white bear, do not do the shaky
Yeah.
kind of side bear thing.
So anyway,
Okay, I would give it about a 7.5. I agree entirely with your assessment, Kip. I love the Michael stuff way more than I thought I would. I love it.
Jesus Christ.
I really do. I'm sorry, Theresa, but I love it.
Yeah.
But I agree. This is I find in every other episode where they're obviously centric to a character and they're obviously centric to a character's development and there's flashbacks for a centric character.
yeah,
But I agree that even keeping all that in mind, this particular centric episode is too focused on Michael and Michael's specific development. The only real growth we make is right at the end with Claire being back and this idea of a raft, which is going to play a bigger role in the storyline, but it's very, very contained to Michael. And I just don't think that's necessary. And like I said, that one flashback, I think it could have been better. And I think we could have kept a little bit of mystery alive a little bit more. So that's my thoughts.
I know everybody's waiting for me to give it a very low ranking, and I'm not going to. It's a 7.1. I don't think that Michael needed his own episode. I think that was too much.
he's a main.
They're all getting their own
It's
episode.
not even, I don't think we need this much Michael. I don't think that this has redeemed him in any way. I think that he is still really annoying to me. I think that, bad situations doesn't mean that you get to take it out on the offspring that you chose to have. That being said, I do sympathize with his situation. I did not like the CGI bear. I do agree that there wasn't enough island motion for me either. And this stuff with Michael and Walt isn't doing enough for the story for me to be like, yeah. That's more just a meh, especially with one of the least compelling characters on the show. Thank you.
All right. Well, that takes us to the end of this week's episode of Let's Get Lost. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you very much for supporting. And of course, we have a new Patreon.
Well, if you subscribe to our Patreon, there's 2 tiers, and if you go for the $5 a month tier, you get a special shout out on the episode. So we have our first $5 Patreon shout out.
Pew, 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 pew.
Take it away, Theresa.
It's my mom. My mom is a big fan of me and has decided to go to the top tier. So, Mom, thank you. I love
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for supporting my dreams. Thank you.
And if any other moms out there want to support our dreams, that'd be great. So for the month of October, if you sign up for the Patreon, you get 3 months free. Please join, support us. We love doing this, and we would love to keep doing it for a very, very long time.
At least until the end of season 6.
You know, and then hey, maybe we'll make a new tier of the Patreon one day, and you can tell us what show to review and talk about next.
Exactly.
How I Met Your Mother.
But yeah, Facebook, Instagram, follow us, like, subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye. Oh.